On May 9th, 1994, a gray bus pulled up to Stateville Correctional Center in Joliet, Illinois. Inside that bus was John Wayne Gacy, the man known to the world as the Killer Clown. For 14 years, he'd been sitting on death row. But today, he wasn't sitting anymore. Today, his last 24 hours on Earth were about to begin.
John Wayne Gacy, it's time for you to die!
Gacy had spent the last 14 years in a prison down south, but they moved him now. Rules, protocol. You don't execute someone at their home prison. So they transferred him to Stateville, the same place where all executions happened in Illinois, the same place that had seen just one other execution since 1977. He was about to be the second. When he got to Stateville, they put him in cell E1E. It was a small space, 6 by 12 feet, just him and the concrete. They assigned a guard to sit directly across from him at a desk, watching. 24 hours a day, no privacy, no rest. Just a guard sitting there staring. The cell was only 20 feet from the execution chamber. That same afternoon on May 9th, something strange happened. Gacy's family came to visit. They brought a picnic, an actual picnic in the prison yard. It wasn't some formal goodbye moment, it was casual. Weird even. Gacy sat there with his visitors, including his mother, eating KFC chicken, strawberries, French fries. They talked about normal stuff. Really normal. The Chicago Cubs, baseball, small talk. Like this wasn't the last day of his life. His lawyer, Karen Conti, had spent years on Gacy's appeals. She talked to him countless times. But what struck her most about those final days wasn't fear. It wasn't desperation. It wasn't anything you'd expect. Gacy just seemed indifferent. He never expressed concern about his death, Conti said later. I didn't sense he even realized it was going to happen. That's the thing about Gacy. Even facing death, he was detached from reality. While he was on death row, he'd been making money, painting clowns, selling artwork, taking calls on a 900 number where he'd try to convince people of his innocence. He'd gotten lawsuits against him. The state wanted the money he'd made back. In his final weeks, he was more worried about his bank account than about dying. In the evening around 6 p.m., they brought him his last meal in his cell. He'd requested a bucket of original recipe KFC, 12 fried shrimp, French fries, a pound of strawberries, and a Diet Coke. It was specific, detailed. He'd even managed his attorney's love of Diet Coke while planning his own death. Here's the thing though, Gacy barely touched it. He picked at the food. His appetite was gone. He sat there with this feast in front of him and couldn't eat. Whether it was nerves, he wasn't admitting, or something else, nobody knows. But the food sat there, mostly untouched. Outside the prison, the crowd was growing. Word had gotten out. The killer clown was about to die. People showed up. Some were there to protest the death penalty. Some were there to celebrate it. They weren't quiet about it either. Later, the prosecutor would remember hearing people outside singing, actually singing, "Na na hey hey, kiss him goodbye." So loud it could be heard inside the execution building. It was almost carnival-like, a festival for death. By nightfall, the atmosphere inside had changed. The prison staff was moving through their procedures. Everything was routine, mechanical, designed to move Gacy from point A to point B without incident. The guards didn't speak much. The warden didn't make speeches. This was a job, a terrible, necessary job. Around 11:30 p.m., maybe a little before midnight, they started moving toward it. The guards came to his cell. They walked him through the corridors of Stateville. The walk wasn't long, maybe a few minutes. But witnesses said Gacy looked nervous for the first time all day. His face showed it. Whatever calm he'd been projecting, whatever detachment he'd managed, it cracked. Reality was hitting him now. This was actually happening. They took him to the execution chamber. The walls were cold. Metal. The chair was there. They called it Old Sparky in other places. But this was a different kind of death. Lethal injection. There was a gurney, straps, IVs. He was lying there, strapped down, And then the drug started flowing. First came sodium thiopental. That was supposed to put him to sleep. Then pancuronium bromide to stop his breathing. Finally, potassium chloride to stop his heart. 3 chemicals, 3 steps. It should have been quick, but it wasn't. There was a clog in the IV line, a blockage. The second drug wasn't flowing right, so they had to wait.
The second chemical didn't completely go in the first instance because there was a gelling or clogging in the line.
10 minutes, 20 minutes. Gacy was lying there, his body already compromised by the first drug, unable to move, unable to speak, just waiting. The witnesses in the room, there were 42 of them, including the prosecutor who'd asked to be invited. They all just watched, waited. It took 18 minutes total. That's way longer than it should have been. The whole thing was supposed to be clinical, efficient, clean. Instead, it turned into this prolonged thing where everyone just stood around waiting for a man to die. At 12:58 a.m. on May 10th, 1994, it was over. The time of death was recorded. Gacy was pronounced dead.
Young men and boys, John Wayne Gacy has been executed. He died early this morning of a lethal injection in an Illinois prison.
He was 52 years old. His last words? Nobody really knows. Some sources say he said, "Kiss my ass." Others say he pointed the finger at Illinois for murdering him. But the prosecutor who was there, the one who specifically asked for an invitation to watch, he said Gacy said nothing. Just silence. The killer clown went out in silence. Outside, when the news hit, people lost it. Cheers, celebration, signs, fireworks. For a lot of people in Illinois, this was justice. This was the end of a nightmare.
And I'm paying for him.
Just seeing a man die that deserves to die. I wish I could see it.
His body was cremated, his ashes scattered somewhere. Nobody knows exactly where. For 14 years, he sat on death row, never showing remorse, never breaking character, never admitting to anything he hadn't already been convicted of. And then in his final day, he barely reacted. No drama, no confession, no breakdown. Just a man going through the motions, talking about baseball, eating KFC, and then dying. That's the story of John Wayne Gacy's last 24 hours. Not dramatic, not poetic, just real. Let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe for more content like this.